So last time we spoke about the needs of a man, but now we're going to transition and speak about some of the needs of a woman. And I'm not alone, as you can obviously see. We've got Kamu here. Kamu's back. Kamu, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you, bro?
Fantastic. And guys, we have a special guest. I'm not putting her in the frame yet. She's going to appear soon, but this is a lady who is our boss.
Yes. There's pressure.
Is the pressure? But she's a woman of God. She's a mother. She's a warrior. She's been through a lot. Still came out smiling. And she has to deal with us, which is in itself a lot. That's just a lot.
Not that bad.
Guys, Lizanne is in the podcast
Hello.
today. Hey, Lizanne.
Hey, guys.
Hey, I'm so excited. I am so excited. We're going to speak about the needs of a woman because,
Yes.
Lizanne, we need your help. Let me tell you why we need, for two reasons. So, Kambo, I didn't tell you this as well. That,
Ow. Okay.
so usually on social media, guys, the ladies are not afraid to say amen and to say thank you and yes, say it louder.
Yeah.
Last week's podcast had the lowest engagement because we're speaking about the needs of a man.
Oh my goodness.
How sad is that?
That is a little sad, guys.
Hey.
I was thinking about it. I was like, why is it so bad? Maybe we could even start here. Is it like, why are men's needs so undervalued in society? Like, why do you think so many people don't see it as something that's important, right? Even just like a stat in retail. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's bigger budgets allocated to Mother's Day than to Father's Day.
That's
So-
very sad.
And it's like, why do you think men's needs get such little attention? Before we speak about the needs of a woman, just for a second, right? Why do you think the needs are so undervalued and so much attention is not put on men when these men are responsible for leading families,
Yeah.
you know, for being the priests of the house? But like, in your own opinion, just what do you guys think? Lizanne, can I
You
start
know
with you?
what? The first thing that comes to mind is I don't know if guys are vocal enough about their needs. I don't know if they communicate that enough.
That's so good. Yeah.
Because ladies are pretty vocal.
Yeah.
We say, and we've also seen in the past guys being vocal, not taken in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, we've definitely seen just women empowerment, and I'm all for ladies' rights, but I think we might have taken it a little too far. Just a little. Just a little, where now men are at a place where they don't know if they can speak up, where they can vocalize what they actually want or what they need.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it. Hey, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. And it's like, even with, if you think about just expressing what you need, it comes across as weakness when everything that is marketed
Sure.
or advised to guys is about
Yes.
strength and power. Right?
Yes.
And I think of it just something so simple, like as simple as a bar one, right? It's like the 25-hour man. Like,
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
That's
Who?
true.
Like,
Like, is a man allowed to be vulnerable? Is
Yeah.
he allowed to show weakness at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Have you guys experienced that kind of pressure of always having to look strong and not show weakness?
Yeah.
What has your experience been as guys?
Yo, I don't know if I've had that kind of experience
yeah.
where I've always had to show like that I'm a man, that I'm strong.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think I've had that.
Well, that's good,
Yeah.
actually. It means that maybe societally we've turned a page.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think so, yeah, because I felt it, but I
Is
think
it?
it's also self-imposed.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
it's not, no one's forcing you to do that, but you decide with every moment what kind of man you want to be based on the conversations that you're having, right? And for me,
Yeah.
it's like I think the closer I've got to God, the more I've realized actually, if Jesus is the standard, I need to see how Jesus handled his emotions.
There we
And
go.
That's the standard of my
Yes.
emotions,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yes.
not being tough, and I'm a protector by nature. I always protect, but it's not. I don't need to fight with someone to prove
your masculinity. Thank you.
What are we doing? Like,
Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Why do we have to be so aggressive?
yeah.
Like I hear you,
Yeah.
and I can still understand what you're saying. You do not have to bring
Mm.
all of that
Yeah.
energy
Mm.
to
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder where that stems from. If
Yeah.
it comes from a place of insecurity
Mm.
and having to prove your strength.
Yeah.
For me, that that's the thing that really attracted me to my husband. Shout out Neelis.
Hey, shout out.
Shout out. But he never had that kind of vibe about
You
him.
didn't have the raw.
Never,
Yeah.
never. Although he's one of the strongest people I know.
Yeah.
And I think it is when it comes from a true place of inner strength and
Yeah.
not insecurity
Yep.
that I don't
Yeah.
have to prove myself. I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know I'm strong. I know I'm confident.
Mm.
I don't have to wave that flag
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah,
time
yeah.
because there's that inner security of who I
and that's-
am.
And
Yes.
and actually, if you think about marketing as well, or anything that was on TV, I'm just thinking like while you're speaking is that everything about men is portrayed as that.
Yeah.
If you think about some of the shows that we grew up watching was MTN Gladiators. Do you remember
Yes, I
that?
remember
I don't know.
Sahara,
That is like an old
Granite.
school, yeah,
ne?
right? And it's like it was all.
Come on, you're still too young.
You're like, what?
Young,
I got
young.
no clue.
MTN Gladiators.
Moving on. and there's even like, remember the lunch bar advert where the guys were like,
Yes.
it's all everything about being a man is
Yes.
power, strength. But
Yeah.
it's like you come into Christianity and you read about a Jesus, a man, a leader who experiences emotions, who shows us what it's like when your friend dies.
Yeah.
Even though he resurrects him, but he still cries.
He cried.
cried,
He
yeah.
cries, right?
He cried.
He embraces things, that he goes to someone and
Yeah.
whatever they say to him, he responds, and he's not afraid to be emotional. And it's like, well, for me, what I saw is that there's actually strength in being emotional because
Yes.
you're secure enough in yourself to go, "Ooh, this makes me feel this type of way,"
Yes, and that's okay.
and that's okay. Yeah, and there's just so many layers though that had to be broken down. I won't act like it just happened overnight. It's just layers and layers of
yeah.
just misconceptions and society's expectations that had to be broken down to get to a place where I'm like, I actually want to be more like Jesus. And when I read about Jesus, Jesus wasn't afraid to show people how he felt,
Yeah.
Yes.
you know? And even, this is a touchy one, even anger, okay? So anger is always like, I think because men are the stronger vessel, that
Yeah.
when we think about men and anger, we think toxic.
Yes,
right?
we think abuse immediately.
Abuse, yeah. He's gonna use all of that energy to hit someone or do
Yeah.
whatever. And we've seen cases like that. But I think even when Jesus shows us how he's angry, but even in his anger, he doesn't sin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a scripture about that,
Righteous.
right? That
There
even
we
in your
go.
anger, sin not. So
Yeah.
we even make anger a bad emotion when it comes to men.
It's
Yeah.
not sin.
yeah.
It's not sin. I always encourage people
Yeah.
feel your anger, but it's what I do with my anger.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
what makes a difference.
Yeah. And that's, I think, I don't know, Kamu, like, if you've ever been in situations like that where people have expected you to be this kind of man, and then actually when you look at the Bible, you see that you need to be this kind of person.
Yeah.
Like, have you experienced that before?
I have. I think I think coming to if all of that, like being angry, being a strong, being a manly man has been made cool by the world. And
Yeah.
once I
Yes.
came to like Christ, once I started working here, actually, once I started having a relationship with Jesus Christ, like all of those things changed. I was more
Yeah.
comfortable to cry.
I don't have to be
like,
there.
My emotions
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
like on display in a healthy way though.
Yeah.
And like it's and it's crazy how the world has made it to look as if it's cool to not have emotions, to be like nonchalant.
Yes.
is what they call it now.
Yeah.
So casual
Yeah.
about life.
And no, I'm more emotional now. I think
Yeah.
I
There
think
we
when
go,
I'm home,
that's
I
great.
cry when I'm happier.
Yeah.
You-
There's like
gotta
so
let it
much-
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even within like being angry and then in a healthy way, relieving that anger in a healthy way, that just brings so much happiness, so
Yeah.
much like it's lighter on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is great strength and vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, how I grew up was don't show weakness, don't cry, be strong.
Yeah.
And with everything our family went through with my daughter's cancer journey, I have seen the strength of vulnerability.
Yeah.
I've seen it actually takes a lot of guts to say, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And even as a woman, I experienced that. So I can only imagine how much more difficult that might be for guys to actually say, hey, I need help. I'm not okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And just that, hey, I need help, I'm not okay. The society is like, you need to have it figured out. Right?
Yes.
You need to be making the right money, making the right decisions, making sure home is taken care of all the time. But it's like, when you read your Bible, actually, nowhere in the Bible
No.
does God expect any man
Yes.
to have it figured out.
Yes.
Right? It's even Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ, right? And we're all following someone's standard.
Yeah.
And Jesus has the standard from being God, right?
He
and
set the standard.
he set the standard, but it's like we come in and we're like, oh, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. Especially like so when it comes to provision,
Yeah.
when it comes to security, which is obviously the need of a woman, and we'll get into that, right? We think that most of that weight falls on us, but it's actually comes through God.
There we
comes,
go.
comes from God through us here. And
Yeah.
we need to make wise decisions and move in such a way that actually brings strength and security in a way that is healthy.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just like logging off from society standards and actually
Yes.
getting more in tune with what God is saying to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And isn't Jesus amazing? I mean, not only has he shown men how to live life, but actually as a woman, I have learned so much from Jesus about the rights of a woman, that a woman matters.
Yeah.
Just to see Jesus's compassion towards the woman caught in adultery,
Yeah.
how when he was raised from the dead, he first revealed himself to women. And so I've often said, in Christianity, there's actually so much empowerment for women because Jesus had a special place for girls.
Yeah.
And
He really
how
did, he
I
really
can
did.
stand in that strength also because of him. So
Yeah.
just listening to what you're saying and how Jesus has taught you how to step up as a man, it's quite beautiful to know just as a woman how much Jesus has taught
Yeah.
me about my rights and my voice. And that's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's
Yes,
crazy
really
how
is.
some like interactions that I've had with other women is that they think the Bible undermines women. They think like
Oy.
No, it doesn't.
you come into
Hello.
Christianity, we're just gonna like you're just second place. You're just like
Yeah.
disregarded as a woman, and it's not the case.
It's
I
not.
love that you say that. Like,
Yeah.
it's so true.
Yeah,
so true.
it really is. And when we look at scripture, it says quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot of power for women there. And
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So speaking of powerful women, let's get into the needs of a woman.
Hey.
Let's go.
Yes.
Number one, the most primary need, Lazon, tell us how you feel about it, is security. Okay, it says in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. The standard Paul sets for a woman is to respect her husband the way she would respect Jesus.
Yes.
Who? The standard for men is to give your life for her, just like Jesus gave his life for you. You love her more than you love yourself. You sacrifice yourself for her.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, that's the thing why we get married in the first place, right? It's not the same kind of relationship I have with anyone else.
Yeah.
And when we get married, we subscribe to agape love. And agape love is sacrificial love.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's the kind of love you have in a marriage relationship. It cannot be conditional.
Yeah.
I counsel so many couples where I just hear them say, well, he doesn't do this, and this, or she doesn't do this,
Yeah,
and that. And then it's like, well, this doesn't sound very agape to
yeah.
me.
There's so many T's and C's.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
so many conditions,
Yeah.
and that's not what marriage is
Yeah.
about. We are subscribing to the same kind of love that our Father has for us. and it is sacrificial.
Yeah.
We have to give.
Yeah.
We have to give. I think before we started, we actually said in the marriage, we're givers, we're not takers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have to sacrifice and we have to love unconditionally. So even if he does not give at a level I want him to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
give him the space to grow into
Yeah.
that. That's so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
And giving your life just just that part alone. I think if men really thought about how powerful it is to give your life for someone, is that
Yeah.
all this long list of things that you want to accomplish by 25, and then by 35, by 45, by
Yeah.
55, is, are you accommodating life in that?
Yes.
And more specifically, are you accommodating your life with her in that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because and I've noticed this just by experience, is that how much stuff do you have to leave to say, no, tonight I'm just going home?
Yeah.
We could do 2 podcasts a week,
yes.
but we do 1
Yeah.
because I have to be at
There
home.
we go. I
right?
have to sacrifice.
I have to sacrifice, and it's I think something that men need to know more about when it comes to marriage is that sacrificial living. That
Yes.
Jesus came out of the perfect life, the perfect experience. He was in eternity, right?
Look, he sacrificed a lot
Yeah.
to come to earth. I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah, no worries.
For
I
who?
don't know if I would have given up that.
Father, you want me to go down for who? For what?
Hey.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just, I think that identifying with that part of Jesus that as men we need to be so intentional about, because
Yeah.
I think when we miss that, we miss the whole thing.
Yeah.
And for men, it's so easy. I think a lot of the times that we make the mistake of, we don't get so caught up in sin and look, let me say Christian men. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
We don't get so caught up in sin and trying to figure out how to disobey God. We get so caught up in trying to do everything God has put in us,
Yes.
right? That we actually miss. Oh, wait, is this making my wife feel safe?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, hold up. What is my first ministry
yeah,
again?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we have to do everything? I know, like, personally, the things that I do that make Nadia feel unsafe is when I become too ambitious. Because my mind is like, do, babe, let's do this, and then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, da 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 da. And it's like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Like, just hold on.
Yes.
Can we do this for a while?
Yeah.
Can we just be steady for a while?
yeah.
And it took me a while to realize that she's not trying to kill
Squash
my
your
dreams.
dreams,
Yeah. That she's just trying to say, listen,
Yeah.
hold on, I feel unsafe. This is a bit dramatic. Like,
Yes.
there's a need of mine that you don't understand that you need to
Yes.
minister into and meet, right? Because it's like, and it's just a thing of, because we're men, we don't always see it. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Security. If we do more things,
We're secure.
We're secure. There's more income. There's more. So actually, we're secure. But for her, it's like, no, actually, you being home
That's
makes me feel
security.
secure.
Yeah.
And I think this is like one, maybe Lazan, you can explain it from a female point of view, is that sometimes Naz just wants me to be home. So she'll call, what time are you coming home? What time are you coming home? So me being in putting pieces together mode, I get home,
Yes.
and then as soon as I'm home, she's like, okay. And then she continues with her things. So what is
I
what
could
is-
have done
what
this,
is-
this,
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And it took me a while just to go, oh, she just wants me present.
Yeah.
But what is that thing in women? Maybe you can explain it, that it's like when I'm around, it feels safe, even though I could be just a few meters.
Yeah. Yes.
You see, it's like such a male thing. Like,
Yeah.
let's move the family forward. Let's go,
Yes.
let's go,
I'll
let's go.
be here later.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll come later.
Yeah.
No, and again, it just parallels our relationship with God in so many ways because it's all about proximity. It's all
Yeah, yeah.
about that
Yeah, yeah.
closeness,
True.
you
Yeah.
know? The moment you guys know as believers, like if God doesn't feel close,
Yeah.
it feels like you're kind of falling off
Yeah,
of
yeah,
your
yeah.
little
Yeah.
bicycle, right?
Yeah.
Even though I know he's there and
Oh,
I
that's
know
so good.
he is just like my husband's just a phone call away. I
That's
know
so
God
good.
is. I want to feel that closeness.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want that
That's good.
intimacy.
That's so
that's
good.
it.
I want that proximity.
Yeah.
So yes, it might not make sense, but that is just the heartbeat
Yeah.
of the kind of love we're
Yeah.
subscribing to in a marriage.
That makes sense because you get home and
Yeah.
you be like, "Oh, we're watching TV." Oh,
Okay.
so we just
Okay.
watching, and it's not even. So I'm like, I had to learn, and I'm still learning how to just how to sacrifice time
Yeah.
is my biggest
Yeah.
thing because it's you literally. I think the most valuable thing, and I think I understand this so much, and I think we understand it more because we work at a church and we see funerals and we see how lives
Yeah.
end. So
How
you're like,
short that is.
time actually, you don't have time to
Yes.
waste doing things that aren't fruitful,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But you also have to tell yourself in your mind that spending time with your wife is fruitful, right? That the investment that you're putting into your relationship is just
Yeah.
as important as the time and investment that you're putting into moving you forward as a
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like that thing we always see online. It's like your job will replace you in 30 days max,
Sure.
Facts.
but you will never be replaced in the lives of your family. And yeah, I think we get so caught up in the busyness and I need to achieve this, this, and that, that we sometimes forget the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that it's at
It's just
home.
at home.
Yeah.
And you really, sorry,
no.
and it's like you work that hard to actually create those pockets of space. Isn't that actually what we're working for? It's like,
Yes.
can we have a house? Can we have something to eat? Can we have like the space and the means to just be?
Yeah.
But then we
Yes.
forget that that's actually what we're
It's
working
already
for.
there. It's already available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kam, you want to say?
Yeah. I wanted to ask, how do I bring security within my relationship, within like outside of marriage, of course, because you guys are married. But how do I then bring that security within my relationship?
Well, first, I think you need to communicate in a dating relationship. What does security look like to you?
Ooh.
Ne? And we need to, because otherwise
That's
there
good.
might be so many unmet expectations that you aren't even aware of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is being placed on your plate.
Yeah.
And so I think definitely in the dating frame of life, we need to communicate. We need to communicate, okay, where's this going? You know, actually, I am a big advocate, and this might be a little controversial, but I am a big advocate for courting
Hello.
opposed to dating.
Yeah.
And so with courting, we have a vision. We are moving in the same direction. And we keep checking in with one another and say, hey, are you still good? Are we still moving in this direction, which leads to marriage? And so I think there is a big lack of security when I don't know where this relationship is going.
Oh, yeah.
Am I just wasting years of my life with this guy? Does he?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I think then I feel very unsafe and not really knowing what's going on in the relationship. So I think clarity and knowing, hey, my goal is marriage. Is that yours? Or is it just companionship? Like, what's your expectations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No. 100.
And I also think that once you know that marriage is the goal, that your life starts to adjust
Yes.
towards that.
Yeah.
Because there's also that drive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lizard. Like there's also that drive of knowing, okay, this man is now pushing to get us married. That also brings a form of security that it's not, oh, here's the ring. And then for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
You hear that?
I
People
took,
have been
I took step
engaged
number
for-
one. Yeah.
Yes. No.
5 years.
Yeah.
No.
Being engaged for 5 years.
Like at what point does it actually cancel? Surely at some point.
Yes. No,
This is
that
like-
also doesn't help. It doesn't help. And again, we need to communicate timelines.
Yeah.
Ne? It's like, you know what? My expectation is in 3 years' time, I want to be married.
Yeah.
And to kind of keep that conversation going and just making sure
Yeah.
we're still on the
Yeah.
same page
Yeah.
of, you know, where I want to go.
Yeah.
Here's a question. While we're on this topic.
Hey.
So still in line of security.
Okay.
How long should a couple date before they're engaged? Nah?
Ooh.
This is spicy. And then from being engaged to being married.
That is such a good question. I do think dating should be longer than engagement.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Because I feel like in dating, we are now making that decision. And I mean, look, after salvation, this is the most important
really
decision you're
is.
making.
Wow.
You
Yes.
cannot just jump into this
Yeah.
blindly. You cannot. It's dangerous. So I need to see, is this actually the person I want to do life with?
Ooh, yeah.
And once we've made that decision, for me, I don't know, you guys must say, but for me, engagement is now just about planning the wedding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just formalizing.
Yeah, just formalizing. Yeah.
I think
Hey.
since we're on the controversial train, I think honestly that once you know, like the two of you have spoken, and this is also based on the ideal situation that money isn't an issue. If you've dated or courted long enough to go, no, we're ready to get married, and that we've seen each other through enough seasons to know most of each other, because you can't really know the whole person,
yeah.
right? And because I can testify, when I got married, I like transformed.
But that's exactly what I wanted to say. We grow, we
Yeah, yeah.
change as humans.
Yeah. So it's like as soon as you've seen enough of the person, I think you need to get on that train to get married, because when for me the spiritual aspect of it is very deep, that the enemy starts to try and attack now, because this thing is
Yes.
starting to look like a mirror image of Christ and the church. You guys are
Yes.
starting to minister as a couple, and the enemy doesn't like it, so he's gonna come for you guys. So go. Whatever loopholes there are, he's gonna try and come for them. He's gonna tempt you with money. He's gonna tempt you with having sex before you're married. He's gonna tempt you with outside opinions and people and things.
Yes.
So if you've seen each other through enough seasons, or however long that is, not like 3 months. Okay, I don't think 3 months.
Yeah, no, let's not
Hold on.
Wait a
Let's
little.
just, have some water. Drink some tea. Let's just
Yeah,
calm
But
down.
there are couples that have
They are.
dated for like
They
3
are.
months
They
and
are. They
they
are.
married. They're happily married.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't
yeah,
suggest it.
I
but
wouldn't.
Yeah. I think.
would not be my recommendation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should apply wisdom.
Yeah.
And you know what? I always say to couples I counsel that there is no such thing as a soulmate. Can I
Yeah.
get an amen?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
such
Nope,
thing.
nope.
Oftentimes we feel like, okay, no, you know what? I think divorce because this wasn't my person.
Yeah.
This wasn't my soulmate. But actually, you're just making a commitment to someone
Yeah.
to see life through, and it will take work, and it's not going to be like Hollywood, right? Sometimes there's not security in the home. Sometimes things is really, really tough. But we are committing now till death do us part. So I think a lot of people subscribe to the Hollywood's version of what the perfect couple looks like.
Yeah.
And that doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's such a lie. Because even if everyone had a soulmate, it only takes one person marrying the wrong person to mess up everything.
Yes.
And that whole
So
car,
it makes
how
no
the car
sense.
folds,
Yeah.
folds no, mathematically that doesn't make
it's like,
sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
I wanted her, and now she's married to him, so I don't have a soulmate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
No
guys.
sense. It makes no sense.
No.
So let's get into number one.
Okay.
That there's sub points under the need, the security need, and Gama can ask you to just share with us what it says.
Yeah, okay. Number 1, it says communicate your commitment to sacrifice for her. Go to Ephesians. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. He gave himself for her. Nothing should be as important to you as your wife is. You have to be willing to sacrifice something, whether it is an interest, a hobby, a friend, an event, an opportunity, or a promotion,
Yes.
to make sure her needs are met.
Yeah.
Yes. And as you read that, it reminds me of something that happened with me and Nelius when I just started working here. And so I'll be in ministry for 10 years next year.
Oh, let's
There we go.
Let's go.
Sabbatical.
It's about to
Yes,
go.
a decade. Oh my goodness. But on day one, as I walked out of the car towards the office, my phone rings. It's Nelius. And he says, Luzanne, you won't believe, but I just got a call from this one company he's been wanting to work for forever.
Yeah.
And I have not applied for the job, but Luzanne, they phoned me and they are offering me twice my salary.
Still gets me.
Yeah, no. Hey.
And
Twice.
twice the salary.
Twice as
but
nice.
it requires us to move to Secunda. And I just stepped into ministry and I said to Nelius, you must be kidding. Like, this is the worst timing ever. Like, I'm walking to the office. This is day one. What are you saying?
Yeah.
And he said, no, we made a commitment. We both feel this is your calling.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to tell you I turned the position down.
Sure.
I've got you. We're doing this
Yo.
and I support you in this ministry. So that for me was always, because I know how much he wanted to work there. I know how how unhappy he was at his current place.
Sure.
And so this opportunity came just as I started ministry. But he made that choice. And you know what? God rewarded his faithfulness.
Yeah.
Because a few months later, he got another position in Witbank where he still works today. And he is just so content, so happy.
Sure.
So yeah, God will even honor those sacrifices. I do believe that.
Yeah. And like a sacrifice in the moment, it's very scary. I can believe for a man if you don't see the next thing.
Yeah.
Because I think the biggest issue with us is that, like, especially because we're so like forward driven as men, is that for me it's like that's such an admirable thing that he did, because he's saying I'm putting you and your needs and your calling above myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though I believe this would be better for our family, I believe that what you're doing is actually more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because technically this would have given us financial security, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This starts to buy all the things you wanted to buy. Now you start to go into the shops that you used to walk past. Like, hell, hi guys, you can take money here. I'm here, you know. And it's such a brave thing for men to make decisions not knowing what's around the corner.
Yes.
Right? And I think for us, it just shows like how much faith he had, because he's like, yes, this could have been one way that God's providing.
Yeah.
But if God's providing, doesn't matter how it comes, it's still going to come. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that as men we need to take note of, that you may have the ideal place you want to work, but that doesn't mean that's the only place that you can work.
Yes.
And sometimes God has something better.
Yes, there we
Even
go.
more ideal than what you thought was ideal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for men to lead according to God's will and not their own. Because I think if Nelius truly wanted to follow what he would have wanted, then I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
You know?
It would just be the two of us, bro.
Women's needs.
What are women's needs?
So it's, Nelius sacrificed also to honor God's will for the home and what he felt would be best.
Yeah.
So often, women would come to me and say, Luzon, but I'm supporting and I'm helping, but it's just a mess. But that's also because the man is not honoring his role to lead according to God's will. A woman can support and help all she wants, but if the guy is just following his own will and his own mind and serving his desires, that's also not God honoring, you know?
And I think that's probably what makes it hard to submit. You want your wife to submit, but where are you going, bro?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, where are you taking us? Right?
Yes.
Because it's even with Ephesians chapter 5, that when Paul starts to speak about submission, he says we should submit to one another.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, and it speaks into the security because we're both submitting,
Yes.
which means there's also things about what I want to do that I need to present to you, and together we need to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks into the security thing, because there's so many things that I want to do that I can't do,
That I sacrifice.
that I sacrifice. And it's like a silly thing, but I bring it up because I love sneakers. Okay? Now, it doesn't look like I love sneakers because I'm prioritizing my family above sneakers.
Sorry.
You're done with me. You're like, I'm going home. Great chat. It's been good, guys. Because I literally, like, there's so many things that I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Nadia's saying you can. She's like, I fell in love with that person. You can do it. It's not. Yes, security is a need for me. Yes, but it's not that deep. Like, does that mean you can't do nice things for yourself because I need to put away all the money and I need to? She's like, well, the guy that I fell in love with did all of these things, and I like the fact that you took care of yourself, which means you could take care of me too.
Yeah.
But now it's like you overcorrect.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it's like I want to make sure everything is okay, but you can go buy yourself some socks. Like
Yes.
it's not the end of the
Yeah,
world.
it's not that deep.
It's not
né?
that deep. Like,
It's not that
do
deep.
you have a plan?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you planning on getting fired? No. Right?
Yeah.
So no, I get that, eh? That
Yeah.
it's an important thing, but also for the guys that we have a place too in the family.
Yes,
I think that's very
absolutely.
important. Yeah.
I mean, nearly as yesterday for the public holiday, I know one of his big ways to de-stress and unwind is to go fishing. He just loves to go fishing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, you need to do this. This is how you
Yeah.
take a breath. And so, we should not withhold those things that we know our partners love just for the sake of sacrifice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We should also apply wisdom
Yeah.
because for Neelius to be a good dad and to be a good husband,
Lazan,
he needs to go
speaking-
fishing sometimes,
Hey,
okay?
hey,
Speaking
please now.
Yeah.
He
needs to
needs
feed
to
himself.
unwind.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And it's not selfish to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because how do you have the capacity to take care of your family? You can't even make sure that you're at a healthy place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And is there anything as unstable as like in a home than when the man is unstable?
Yeah.
Like, the whole house
Yes.
feels it, right?
Yes.
Because he walks in and he's not saying anything, but he's just tense.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Bible speaks about how as men we should be gentle. And it's so interesting that God makes that a command because you don't know that you're not being gentle.
Yeah.
Because you feel like there's the weight of the world on your shoulders.
on your shoulders.
And you're not saying anything, but you're showing it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and you don't realize like in the inside you just feel like you're like this. But on the outside,
Sure.
opening the cupboard, close the cupboard. Ish, where's this? What about?
Yeah.
Oh. It's like the smallest things become a big thing because
Yeah.
you yourself are not okay.
You're not okay. And that influences the atmosphere at
It
home.
does,
I
yeah.
mean,
It
you
does.
can hide it, but everyone can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
it's very true. Like that's something I noticed, and I thought I'm hiding it so well. But like even when we have visitors, it's like everyone just suddenly keeps quiet. Like this will happen like just real life. Suddenly everyone will keep quiet because I walked in. But it's like I don't realize that I'm carrying energy. Because I'm walking
Yeah.
like, hey guys,
Yeah.
hey, what's happening? I'll be like, hi guys, and then I'm looking for food, opening the fridge, closing the fridge. And I'm like, should I get takeaway? Okay, if I get takeaway, then I have to buy everybody food. Okay, do we have enough money to buy everybody food? And then suddenly, like, all these things in
Yeah.
your mind,
Yeah.
and then you realize the whole room is quiet, and you're like, oh, no, my.
You brought that.
You
into
brought
the
this
room.
energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, I think what you're talking about is very important because sometimes, I think out of insecurity, there are some women who won't let their husband go and fill up
Yes.
because what is he doing when he's alone?
Yeah.
Who's there?
Yeah.
I'm going to video call. I'm going to call because are you really fishing? Or are you fishing for someone? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
But I think there's with that security, there has to be obviously a level of trust where
Yes.
I need you to be the husband that you also go and do whatever makes you feel
There
happy.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every guy has something that they do that fills them up. But I think it's just as important to fill your tank
It's
Yeah.
very
because
important.
an empty vessel can't fill.
No,
Yeah.
you
You
can't.
can't.
It's hurting. It's
Yeah.
hurting the family.
Just going back to your story, Lizanne, with Nelius, I was just thinking how you said in dating you need to like communicate the type of security you need, and if most probably if Nelius didn't know what you needed, he would have taken the job. He would have
Yeah.
taken the job, seeing it as
Ooh,
security
Yes.
to like I'm gonna keep this household going and moving. Like we have more money now.
This is more
We're secure.
important.
This is more important over ministry, over what you need, and that sacrifice is like golden. It's what we need more in like
It really is. I mean,
marriages.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first few months when I was still on probation here at ministry, because you guys know you're in ministry, it takes over your life, right? And the devil attacks, and you feel like not good enough. And I remember those first few months, I was just crying with Neelius. I'm like, my old job will take me back. I can't do this. I'm not good enough to do this.
No.
I'm gonna go back. And Neelius actually said, no, you're not. You're doing this. You have been called. I know it. I can see who God has called you to be.
Sure.
And you know what? In a marriage, we also need to affirm
Yes.
what we see in
Yes.
one another
Yeah.
when that insecurity
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways, husband and wives. And Neelius just spoke truth, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
you are good enough.
Yeah.
You can do this. I know you can. You're not quitting now. I won't allow it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
pushing through. And I thank God for that, because I think if he also didn't do that, I again would have quit and just like,
Thanks, guys. You know
thanks,
what?
guys.
It was good.
It was worth the try. It was a great
Yeah.
experience, but I think God is calling me.
Yes. So even
To
in
the
the topic
marketplace.
of security, when you see your spouse, you know, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, like just not being in a secure place within themselves, like speak life,
Yeah.
speak, affirm, like
Yeah.
remind them who they are and who they've called to be, because that really does so much coming from your person,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't know if we do that enough. I
Yeah.
think sometimes we're quicker to criticize. We're quicker to just break down and critique rather than just saying, hey, don't forget who you actually are.
Yeah.
You've lost sight of, you know, that line that's within you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remind you to lift your head.
there we go.
Because you do, you get so caught up. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. And I think I think one of the biggest spiritual attacks we face as people is that when the enemy tries to get you to not see you, to not get you to see you how God sees you.
Yes, exactly.
And when that perspective is changed, you think you're not effective.
Yes.
But nothing around you has changed except what's happening in your mind.
Yes.
Everyone still sees you as that person.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, it's like you need someone to say,
Yeah.
you're still that person.
Yeah.
You're that
right?
person.
Yeah.
You still, it's a bad season, but it's not a bad life.
Yeah.
There we
You
go.
know?
Yeah.
You're still called, and God's not
Yes.
going to suddenly change his mind because you made one mistake or because someone thinks
Yes.
this and this of you,
Yeah.
that you're still that person.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it really is where I believe that I have become way better at doing me since I got married. Because when I was single, there was no one, right?
Yeah.
And even when there were people, it's like you don't know enough about me to really speak into this the way I
Yes.
need you to speak into
Yes.
it, because you don't know me.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I can do, but you don't know me, right? And it's like I think when we look at the Bible and when we look at how God uses people, it's like the Bible shows us the good parts of them and the bad parts of them, and still how effective God is through them, right?
Yeah.
And even in the middle of all the chaos and the family drama and all those kinds of things, God could still move.
Yes.
And we just need people to remind us, yes, you're not perfect. Nobody said you were.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
nobody
no one's
said-
expecting you to
No
be
one's expecting
either.
you to be either. But keep going, because
Yes.
this season will also end. Like, just keep going, keep walking, keep seeking God, and eventually
Yeah.
whatever you're experiencing now will pass. Yeah.
I mean, can I say something controversial?
Go. Controversial.
Say it.
Can I say
Is
it?
it? Let's go.
I do believe if you have an insecure partner, that at some measure you're to blame.
No.
Can I say it? Because
Yes.
it's your job.
Yeah.
It is your job to affirm and build
Yeah.
that person up. When I met Neelius, okay, he came out of a very bad relationship and you would not recognize him. He couldn't look you in the eye. He was so broken as a man. And I remember as I dated him, I just saw such insecurity within him, so much worthlessness. And I remember, and I just told him the other day about it. I said, you know what? I promised myself, even if it doesn't work out with this guy, if there's one thing I want to accomplish with Neelius, is just to build his self-esteem and make him believe in himself again. You know, so I feel like if you might have a spouse or a partner who doesn't believe in themselves,
Yeah.
I think you need to take some responsibility there.
I love that, Lizanne, because it's not even because of something you did.
Yeah.
It's just something you should be doing.
Yes.
Yes, he's not insecure because of what you did.
Yes.
Like with Neelius, it was his past, but it's
Yeah.
like it's your job to then now bring back that order into his life.
Yes.
Like
There we go.
Are you passionate?
I'm very passionate.
And it's true, because even
Yeah.
if you look at the Bible, right, it's like I think of while we're speaking about this, I think of Joshua, right? Is
Yeah.
that Josh didn't see himself the way God saw him.
Yeah.
And God said, be strong and courageous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And we need to do that as people as well, because we're made in the image and the likeness of God.
Yeah.
Which means when we see someone who doesn't see themselves the right way, we can use our words
Yeah.
to align them.
Yes.
Like, hey, whether it's in like a soft, gentle, and a loving way, or if it's like, yo, like,
Wake up.
Yeah.
get your act together.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it to my wife. I don't say it to my wife. But, you know, it just basically like,
Yeah.
just get it together. Because even like outside of a male-female relationship, even with friends, even with your siblings and stuff,
Yes.
it's like, sometimes you need to just tell, hey,
Hey,
like, you
yeah.
know, you're that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to make you big-headed. It's just trying to make you secure and sure of yourself once
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Because you do need someone to show you, I'm still
Yeah.
that person. So
There we
yeah.
go. Let's build up.
Yeah.
Let's build up. Let's
Yeah.
stop breaking down.
Yeah.
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 How do I communicate that?
Hello.
How do I communicate that there is an insecurity within me that I need help with, and not have my partner tell me that, like, you're like that, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, it's something you should be fixing. You're the one that's insecure, and you should be fixing this yourself. Because there's a lot of that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of relationships where someone is insecure, and the partner, the other person that's not insecure, is saying it's not my problem. You're the one that's insecure. You have the problem, and you need to deal with
figure it
and
out.
figure it out. But we still want to be in that relationship. So how do you then like address that? How do I then address that? And
Yeah.
be like, I need help, and
Yeah.
I think you're the person to help me. type
There
of
we
thing.
go. And you don't have to solve my problems.
Yeah.
I just need someone in my corner.
Yeah.
And I think that's the words you
That's
can
the big one.
communicate is like, I really just need someone in my corner to
That's so
just, you know, cheer me on and you know, move me forward. I had such a laugh one time in the kitchen. Nelius was busy cooking, and hey, Nelius was cooking. So hey guys, you can do it.
Noodles. I'm joking. It's a joke.
Oh,
He loves cooking.
Eggs.
He loves. But and I was like going in the kitchen. I was like, this is happening and this is happening.
Yeah.
And I could see him assessing and thinking, okay, does she need advice or does she need a cheerleader right
Yeah.
now? You know. And he actually said, how do you feel? And that was a very I saw him. I didn't want him to know I saw him. But I was like, that's so wise because
Yeah.
what do you need right now? Do you need advice or
Yeah.
do you just need a shoulder?
Yeah.
And I have encouraged couples to be clear about that,
Yeah.
you know, to communicate that and say, can I just have a shoulder right now?
Yeah.
You know, and when I say that, I don't need to tell you to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I just need affirmation
Yeah.
and I just need that kind of encouragement. And it's like, you know what? You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I give permission to give advice, because I think we're so quick to solve
Yeah.
and just tell you how you're wrong,
Mm.
sometimes people just need a shoulder.
Yeah.
And so for me and Elias, and I encourage couples to do that, say, can I just have a shoulder real quick?
Yeah.
And then I know, okay, I'm getting my
shoulder.
pom-poms.
Yeah.
I am a cheerleader right now, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want my advice or wants me to fix it.
Yeah.
I just need that fellowship.
Yeah.
But then to also is like, okay, you need to be real honest with me. I give you permission to.
Yeah.
We need to give that permission.
Yeah.
And not just give that cutthroat advice
Yeah.
when people actually just want a shoulder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it comes all back to communication and say, hey, you know what? Let's have a shoulder hat,
Yeah.
if I could put it like that. And then, okay, no, I actually really need to bounce this off of you. Give me
Yeah.
your honest opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fire. That's
Yeah, yeah.
fire. Okay. So the sub point number 2 is under the need of security. It says, be sensitive to your wife's needs and don't make her nag or beg. Hello. It says, your wife should never have to nag or beg. And guys don't even like it when they nag or beg.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Isn't there a proverb saying it's better to live in the ceiling of a
Yeah.
house?
There absolutely is.
How with the nagging wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. And then it says, when you send your wife flowers or cards, or you're romantic with your wife, what you're saying is you're on my heart.
Yeah.
The lack of romance simply means I don't think about you. You're not on my heart. And then the author says, my uncle passed away several years ago. When I was writing his eulogy, my aunt told me that for 40 years of marriage, he wrote her a new poem every
my
day.
goodness.
Yo.
Every
Think
day.
about every day.
40 years.
For every day, a letter.
Yo.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Sure.
And it says, think about that for just a minute. Every day for 40 years.
Yo.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
When he was alone, every morning he was thinking
Yo.
about her.
Wow.
She was the
Yo.
happiest woman on earth.
Yes.
So
Yo.
being sensitive to your wife's needs and not making her
Yes.
nag or beg.
Yes.
Speaking
Look,
to that as well.
I don't like nagging or begging. I irritate myself. Like I just
I'm annoying myself.
I'm annoying myself right now. I don't want to do it. But to add to that, how beautiful is that? A poem
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
for 40 years.
Yo.
But you know what? In
That's
a
a standard.
marriage, we should never stop pursuing one another. I feel like so often when people get married, it's like, well, we've arrived.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Got the ring. Got
It's-
you.
yeah,
Thank you.
It's done.
Yeah.
But no, if anything, more than ever before, we need to pursue one another
Yeah.
and keep that fire alive. Hey.
Yeah.
Even within
Very true.
dating, I feel like I've seen it in my relationship that once it was still like the honeymoon phase, even after the honeymoon phase, it was so
Yes.
like so vibrant with dating. I was writing these cards. I did
Hello.
I did
Hello.
100.
I remember.
You don't remember
I
those? I did
remember.
100 like little cards
Yeah.
of what I love about her, bro.
You. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And like and those things started fading away and it's being intentional with it. I think it's like being intentional that
Oh,
you
yes.
continue dating.
Yeah.
Oh
continue dating,
yes, you
continue
have to
dating.
continue
Yeah.
dating.
Yeah.
Even in your marriage, you have to continue dating.
You do. Like
Yeah.
I heard something that was so powerful as like so there was two questions that this guy asked his wife every time they're on date night. Is number one, how can I make you feel more safe? And number two, who do you need me to be in the season of your life?
Wow.
And I'm like, those are questions I started asking now because sometimes you don't realize actually I'm not making you feel safe because that's your number one need. And who do you need me to be in this season of your life?
Yes.
Like, because things change,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It takes one significant event, whether good or bad, for his or her whole perspective to change.
Yeah.
Like I know even in our relationship is that my wife's sibling passed away and that changed. Like she needed me to be something different in a
Yes.
season where
Yeah.
it's with grief there's no timeline. You
Yeah.
just have to be there.
Yes.
So even during date nights, it's like who do you need me to be? And sometimes the answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth. She really doesn't know. But then you just have to be sensitive to who the person is, what they're going through, and who
Yeah.
you need to be in that
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Right? Because also the nagging and the begging is not attractive
Yeah.
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Like, how come I always have to ask you to? You never. When are you gonna? Sometimes I just need you to. Like nobody likes that.
Yeah.
No. And
They
it's
don't
not
like it.
building him up.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
really not building him up. If
Yeah.
anything, if you want a little hack, positive affirmation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just saying, babe, I so love when you do this.
Yeah.
Not saying, why don't you do
True.
that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like pay
Facts.
attention. And when he does something nice, affirm it, affirm it, affirm it.
Yeah.
And he will say, okay, this is
Yeah.
working. Let me do it more.
Yeah.
I love
Um,
how I love how these like 2 points are matching up from the needs of a woman. The first point, the needs of a man.
Yeah.
It does.
So like they're
It's
matching up.
complementary,
It's
yeah, yeah.
complementing
It
each other.
does.
It really
It's
is.
so about
It really is.
complementing one another. It really is.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just seeing your partner.
Mm.
I know for me, like sometimes Nadia has to work through the night, right?
Sure.
And it's like who does she need me to be when she wakes up, or when she's
Yeah.
done working? Because I know she stands, which means I gotta massage her feet,
Yeah.
right? So make space in my mind. Because the war is not always physical; it's in your mind, right?
Yes.
That when she wakes up, I must, or whenever she goes to bed, I must massage her.
Yeah.
She's gonna be too tired. So either I must cook or buy food.
Mm.
Don't make her wake up and think about those things. Yeah.
Yes.
Because she's also helping our family, right?
Yeah.
She's doing her part
Yeah.
Yeah.
in bringing a sense of normalcy and stability.
Yes.
So I need to help her as well. So I think when it comes to that's not even romantic. That's just being thoughtful.
Yeah.
But
You know?
also, what I love what you're saying is you're looking at your spouse and saying, "How can I serve you?"
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
really is the secret ingredient to a successful marriage.
Yeah.
Not looking at the marriage of what can I get out of this,
Yeah.
but how can I serve you? And when we both come from a place of giving
Yeah.
and not just wanting to take,
Yeah.
I mean, that is just the secret to success.
So wonderful. So
Yeah.
wonderful. But we gotta wrap up. Guys, we need Lazon back. Please tell her to come back.
Please
Put it in
invite
the
me back.
comments.
The comments.
Say Lazon, come back. We're not done.
Oh,
we only
I
got
love
to
being
point
here.
number
Thank
2.
you.
Yo.
Lazon, we're at point number 2 of point number 1. Sub point number 2.
Wow.
So we still have point number 3 and then the other needs.
Sure.
But yeah, guys, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. If this is adding value to you, please share it with somebody. Maybe you have a friend or a family member who needs to see this and really
Yeah.
get a bigger perspective of what it means to have a godly marriage, to date better, and actually just be a better person in general.
Yeah.
Because better people
Yeah.
have better relationships when they're dating,
Yeah.
and then ultimately have better marriages. So please share it with somebody, like, subscribe, and then we'll see you guys once again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.